This is Kendra Nielsen-Miles. I am the Executive Director and founder of EDS Wellness, and we're here doing a Q&A with Karia Sturm about her new upcoming documentary on Ehlers-Danlos syndromes. She has been working super hard for quite a while on putting together this amazing documentary. It's not launched yet. We will go into details about what is coming and what the work that she's been doing, but she's also a personal friend that I've known for several years now. She's been incredibly supportive of the work that I do, also the work that EDS Wellness does. She's come and visited my house. She's brought us German candy. She's just a wonderful friend and a huge advocate for the community, and also very supportive of both patients, providers, me, EDS Wellness organizations, and has done so much work in just trying to help advocate and share stories about Ehlers-Danlos syndromes and the struggle that patients face, and trying to put that more in a story format so that people in the public can understand that more. And so with that being said, Karia, can you just introduce yourself more than what I have, a little bit more about your background, and also then talk about how you started on your documentary. But we can start with just a little bit more about you and your background.
So I'm German, but I live in the US right now because my husband works here. I was a lab technician in the past, but then I had to quit my job due to my EDS symptoms, and then I started to get into journalism. Rather by accident, I would say. I just started writing at some point, which was one of my most important coping mechanisms. And then, I kind of used my medical background, to, I guess, spread awareness.
And also you put together quite a bit of not just writing articles from your perspective on your blog, but so you've done a couple of articles that are on our website that have been great, but then also you and Marcus, your husband, have also worked on a couple of research articles in terms of Tenacious X, EDS, and several higher level research publications, both in German and in English.
Yes, that is right. It's
so
mostly
when you're
in
lightly
German.
going into journalism, you have really gone full deep into journalism and at a very high caliber to provide really wonderful resources for the community, both research and also helpful information like on travel and disability and different things like that. So it's a little bit more something in journalism.
Well, I mean, I have a research background, so writing review papers about EDS was kind of coming naturally to me, but the journalism side was a little harder because I didn't have the formal training to do that. So that's why I started this master's degree in Edinburgh now. So to, get some formal training in journalism.
Right. So with that segue, I think it's important to also mention that, so this project was obviously something that you wanted to do and you wanted to help the community, but was also a part of your master's thesis, your project for your master's thesis. So can you tell us a little bit more about that, how the project came about, how long you've been working on it?
So the funny part is that I basically decided the topic for my master's thesis before I even started with a degree program. So it was the first thing that came to my mind when I heard that we were allowed to do documentaries for our thesis was I want to do a film about EDS. Because it makes so much sense, right?
Right. Well, it's a perfect segue from all the publishing that essentially you've done. And as I said, you've done several types of publishing at several different levels and calibers, and in German and English. And what's next? Of course, a documentary would be next.
But it's also because I always wanted to get a little bit more into filmmaking, and I have no experience at all with that. So then we had this documentary filmmaking module. And it was just so much fun to tell, a story via visuals. And then... So
they set you up with how to kind of set up a documentary? Is that what the module was? Is it kind of helped you try to help frame a documentary and how to film it? Is that what they...
Yeah, it was a little introduction because it's only 3 months. So it was the basics of filmmaking, how just the basic structure of documentaries, then the basics in how you actually film.
So they don't really go into a ton about equipment and
like not at all.
Yeah, it's just how to get started. I mean, everybody starts somewhere. I mean, look at all the people that are on YouTube, and they start with just their phones and they do all these different things. Right. They've grown, and for whatever they're doing, whether they're doing video games or whatever it is. I mean, a lot of them have gone further, and you step up in caliber of equipment as you fully understand it and can invest in it. And even then, it's still complicated.
Yeah, that's true.
So then you take this, you want to do this, but then you go on the road. Essentially, you decide that you're going to do this. You're going to share certain people in your story, but you also travel to meet them, to interview them. Can you tell me a little bit about that process? Not necessarily the people, but more in terms of scheduling and flying and your investment to just meet with them in different countries?
Yeah, that was actually the hardest part of the whole film, because I filmed in 6 different countries. So I basically tried to film in the United States because I live here now, and I tried to film in Europe because I spend a lot of time with my parents in Germany. So that was like the easiest 2 main centers to film people. But obviously there was still a lot of traveling involved, which is always very, very hard physically, and also expensive.
I was going to say, not to mention expensive.
Yeah, there was a lot of self-funding involved.
Yeah.
I basically paid this from my disability benefits. So yeah, it was quite hard, but also a lot of fun and very, very, I don't know how to say that. It made me probably better as a professional, and maybe even as a person. I don't know. I just met a lot of incredible people.
You're approaching it not from the patient side in terms of kind of like a business, and you're a professional doing this project, and you're meeting with people, and obviously want to do your project at a higher caliber, and you have this vision, and you're meeting with these people, and you're flying to all over the country, and then you're anticipating that they're going to follow through with their end and meet with you, so to allow you to film them. So how did you approach just your travel and organization of timing, and who you saw and when, and how long did it take you?
Oh my God, I think overall I've been working on this for the last 14 months, with some breaks in between.
And somehow I missed you when you were here.
Yeah, you did.
Not to mention I wanted to see you, but that was the hardest part about all of it, was that I didn't get to see you when you were here.
Well, maybe next time.
Next time. But I know you're flying from one place to another. So how did you even organize all of that?
It was really, I like organizing. That being said, planning is kind of my thing. But apparently when you have EDS, you can't plan everything because things just happen, right? So there were several incidents when plans just didn't work out. For example, when I filmed in Belgium, we had all these great plans to film. I was filming a girl there, and we wanted to see all the places she loves, like a farm, and we wanted to film at her school. But then EDS happened and she had to go to hospital. So we spontaneously filmed at the hospital.
Yeah, I was going to say, film then?
Yeah, there wasn't much of a choice.
Right, I was going to say, if you're doing a documentary, you're doing a documentary, and that's right. Part of his planned.
That was, right? Yeah. It was just reality. That's what happens if you have EDS. And
how long did you spend with each person on average?
Couple of days, mostly like 4 to 5 days.
Did you plan just to follow them throughout their day, or did you have specific times to work with them in certain situations, or was just really just your approach was their story, but also following them through their typical day?
Yeah, it was pretty much everyday life, but we also planned stuff in ahead of time. For example, if we wanted to meet specific experts like doctors, or if we wanted to go to a place where I had to ask for permission to film there. So that was stuff we planned ahead. So we did this, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a casting, but it was like I talked to all the people and they told me about their usual schedule. And then we figured out what specific EDS challenge we wanted to focus on and where.
You have a vision that's part of the way that you're approaching your documentary and what you want to tell and show, and also go with if you have to pivot and just deal with whatever happens.
Yeah, I mean, there were, I wanted to show like the full picture of EDS. So I wanted to focus on like one specific challenge with each family that I filmed.
Mm-hmm.
So we tried to figure out what that would be for them and then find like the best place to film that. And other than that, I would just follow them around and see whatever happens.
So I have two questions in terms of that, and then another question. But if you're following up and you're going around with people and you're planning all of this, how did you, not who you did, but how did you even decide who you were going to work with? How did you go through that process?
I had help with that. So a couple of people I just knew from, my own past.
Right.
I was just talking to
share.
Yeah, for example, some writers that I've gotten to know over the last years. But then I also had some really nice people that were in Germany and in Belgium who they happened to be at a EDS conference when I contacted them and asked them if they had any people that would want to get involved. So they would run around at this conference and ask people or recruit people for my film. So that's how I found like probably 50% of the people in my film.
So if you're basically portable and you're doing this on the fly and portable and pivoting based upon people's stories and what you need to do and your vision and what you want to record, what's your equipment? I mean, the only thing that comes to my mind is what I've gone through, bought, carried, schlepped. It's heavy. And you're talking about different countries and also making sure that you get the quality of recording that you want. So how did you do that on a budget for your master's?
Well, so I tried to find a compromise. So I bought a really high caliber camera, it's a semi-professional camera. It's a Panasonic GH5, but the visuals are really beautiful. But I couldn't afford the super high-tech sound equipment, so I bought a little more affordable microphones. And then I had very good lenses because my husband, he loves to photograph, so we have lots of lenses at home. So I didn't have to buy those. And
those didn't go on the video camera, did they? No.
Yeah, they do. It's like the Panasonic GH5 is not like a camcorder.
Okay, I was gonna say, because I use, like, for EDS wellness events and different things, I have this, Brian bought me a professional level camera. So because obviously events, we do our own recording, right? And a nonprofit doesn't have a whole lot of money, nor could invest in it. And so we invested in our own equipment to be able to record, and he's my IT guy. But it's like a camcorder, I think. It's not like my digital SLR that records. So you're using the Panasonic, and then you can use the lenses. Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then right before I filmed for the very first time, my camera died. So that was another thing. There were like lots of issues that needed to be fixed. So
always the things that you don't even really interpret and expect or think about, but all part of the process. So was there anything that didn't go as well or that you learned from it? I guess those are two questions. Anything that didn't go as planned, but that ended up turning into a big learning experience? That could be like in terms of travel or equipment or scheduling. It could be anything. It could be even something small and just personal.
Oh, there were lots of things that didn't go as planned. I mean, as I mentioned, the girl that had to go to hospital because of severe complications. So that was one thing. I was super scared that we weren't allowed to film at the hospital because they're usually really strict. But lucky for me, in that particular hospital, they were super used to camera teams, so it wasn't an issue at all. Then flights canceled. That was a big part of it because it was winter when I filmed, mostly in Europe. So there were lots of flights that were canceled. Health issues that developed.
I was going to say, how about your own personal capacity?
Yeah, that was hard. I mean, I'm really good at pushing myself through things, but it had some really severe consequences on my own health. But yeah, I'm okay. It's just, the good thing was that I filmed people that had EDS, right? So they understood my own limitations. So whenever they saw that I looked tired or just in pain, they would make me rest.
That's good.
So that was really, that wouldn't happen with anyone else, right?
Yeah,
but it's just,
sure.
there was this mutual understanding of limitations, and we never filmed for more than just a couple of hours.
Yeah. So now that you are done filming, putting the film together, what is your anticipated launch? And also, what are you most proud of at this point?
So the anticipated launch is hopefully in October. At least that's planned. So there hopefully will be several webinars where they stream the film exclusively for people that sign up. And then we hopefully can plan some like on-site events where people can come together to watch it. So that's all in the process. And I just started with that. So it's probably going to take some time until we know what exactly is going to happen.
Sure.
What I'm most proud of, I don't know. I think I'm just proud that I actually managed to put together a feature-length film with like my own limitations, physically,
that you got
financially.
to this point, that you actually got to this point.
Yeah. It's just that I really finished this whole film. Yeah, I'm really proud of that.
I can definitely understand that. I think sometimes when you're in it, you're just like your head's down and you almost can't even think or see the finish line. I mean, you can see it from a broader perspective in terms of vision and what you want, but actually the footwork to get there, I mean, you know what you have to do, but doing it is, it's almost seems unreal to get to the end and to finish a complete.
Yeah.
And I definitely can understand that. Sometimes I've been in projects where your head's down and it's not that you doubt it and you're moving forward, but you just really can't see the end for whatever reason. Health issues, different things happen.
Yeah.
But to get to that point, even if you're not even there where you've shared it yet, but just to get to the point knowing that you've completed it and you've put it together and you've worked and you've traveled to see all these people and you've shared their stories and it's documented. Awesome. That's amazing. I mean, that's just incredible for the community. Just getting to that point, because at this point, no matter what, it'll still be launched. No matter, at this point, it's like the point of no return. It still will be launched no matter what. And
yeah, hopefully.
Right. I like that point too. I like getting to that point of like knowing that there really isn't any huge barriers. Like you've done it. You've put it together. You've done the hard work, the legwork. You've traveled. You've been committed, consistent. You've great stories. You've put in your effort, and here you are. So anticipating the launch, and this is why we're doing this, so we can start building some information and momentum. And you've shared your 3 trailers that I will make sure that I link to when I do the post on EDS Wellness that includes this video. But you have 3 trailers. Did you decide on one of them?
No, not really. I like them all. So my film is just a little unconventional. It has 3 trailers.
That's all right. 3 trailers is good. It's variety. You never know what's going to like, sit with somebody, right? How long is the total film?
At this point, it's 69 minutes.
All right. 69 minutes. What is you've put it together, you're here, you're launching, you've committed, you've done it. You're there. What's your ultimate hope from both what the patient side gets out of it, but also the provider side?
Well, I hope that this will teach people that don't have EDS, or just shows them our challenges and maybe creates more understanding. That would be nice. And I also, one of my goals was to represent invisible disabilities in an accurate way, because I couldn't really find too much, like documentaries that focused on invisible disabilities, and some were like very stereotypical and very dramatic. And I just wanted to show reality and show the truth of our lives. And hopefully this can also be some educational material for, doctors that haven't heard of EDS before and that just want to learn.
Yeah. if doctors were watching this and you just shared what you hoped the community gets out of it, what providers may learn, what would you say to providers that watch this, that want to learn and they're learning something, but what would you hope that they get out of it or learn from it in terms of diagnosing and caring for EDS patients? If they do, if they want to, or even if they just have a few and they've never dealt with us before.
Well,
they don't know where to start.
If I'm allowed to have like one wish,
yeah,
it would be that they understand that we know our bodies quite well, and we, like almost all of us, I think, are very highly educated on EDS.
Yeah.
And so I would love if doctors just learn to listen to the patient.
Yeah.
That would be one thing. And I think this documentary shows that we really know how to cope and you know, how we are strong and we can deal with this condition. And they basically should offer us like just a helping hand, you know?
Yeah. And even that helping hand, if they don't have the capacity to help us or treat us or care for us, just believe us.
Mm-hmm.
And understand that everybody is different and that everybody's challenges and presentation is so different.
Yeah.
And that there's so much that we don't really understand and know yet, but it starts with awareness and belief in something outside of the box and something that might not be within the scope of current medical understanding.
Yeah,
but
true.
That's how we grow and that's how we evolve and that's how we learn.
Yeah.
For sure.